Hey, Bill Nye the Science Guy here. You may know me as a famous TV star. Of course, you may not. But anyway, I'm the ambassador and resident scientist at Epcot's exciting new world called Innoventions. What is Innoventions? Come on! The future's too much fun to wait for! The world's largest showplace of new inventions. Only at Walt Disney World in Florida. It's Epcot like you've never seen it before.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Guys of the Galaxy Theme Park Edition episode number 6.
Number 6.
As always,
Peps,
I'm
that
Richie
was
Pepperfield.
I'm
Very
Kyle
tame.
Timmons.
And I'm Trey Shields.
Yes, right. Yeah, that was probably the best intro you've done, Peps. I always get a little nervous when I
Well, because this episode was
Open up.
brought to you by Smirnoff Limited Edition,
Oh.
Red, White, and Berry.
I don't have a
Okay.
White Claw with me today, Russell.
So,
Well, I'm looking for that sponsorship money.
ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we once again are joined by our friend Trey. So, to be honest, I don't even know if Trey knows this. This was something that was discussed between Peps and I only.
Sure.
So I'm going to say this right now for the people listening or watching, and for Trey. We want to welcome Trey because Trey is now officially the third chair here on the Theme Park Podcast.
That's right.
So
I feel so honored.
From now on, he will be with us for every Theme Park Podcast, if obviously he's available. So yeah,
Sure.
this is the Guys of the Galaxy podcast, and Peps and I are the Guys of the Galaxy, but we're not the only Guys of the Galaxy.
Guys, the Galaxy
have-
plus one.
No, you're also a
It's
a guy.
like, it's like faith plus one.
Yeah.
No, you're official.
He's
We'll have to get you drawn in.
He's our Groot. He's our Groot. We'll say that. Makes sense.
He's
He's our
Groot.
Groot. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
if you didn't notice, I changed my name for this week. I'm actually Rich from the Command Center.
Well, you're still Thor.
That's more of a nod to the
Okay.
two of you guys' background. Trey knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
All right, so obviously this is Talking Theme Parks, episode 6. So this week's theme, if you're watching this, if you're on audio, you have probably no clue. But if you're watching this, you can probably tell what our theme is this week by our backgrounds. So our theme this week is Epcot. We're talking everything Epcot this week.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
before we do that, we have some good news, some big news. So Peps, Trey, well, Peps, you can cover.
This
the
way you're
news,
gonna
and
plug
obviously,
kitty litter.
No, not at all.
Oh, we're not doing that yet?
The point of that is no.
No, that's what Jericho always does. He's always like, before we get to that, let me tell you, I have kitty litter. Do you have kitty litter
Hey,
too?
you guys heard about the manscaping thing that
Omaha
shaves your balls?
Steaks. The last one I heard was Omaha Steaks. So yeah, okay. So yeah, we have some news. Peps, you have the news, and Trey, obviously, you're the guy in the know. You have the secret connection. So after we talk about what we have written down, if you want to
Okay, let's
add
see.
anything. Okay.
Today is now June 1st as of filming this, and today was the day that Legoland opened. So it's the first theme park to go down and open this week. We'll have some pass holder previews at Universal. I scored a ticket to the one on Thursday, and then on Friday,
Bastard.
on Friday, Universal will open up to the public, and then after that, we'll see SeaWorld and Busch Gardens open on the 11th with their water parks, and they'll have not every day, which I just found out today, they will not be open every day. That I have the schedule on my phone, but it's kind of actually weird to see that. Let me see what they have here. So they'll reopen. Busch Gardens will close on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, which is not like them. They're usually at 365. And then Adventure Islands will be closed on Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesdays. which kind of makes sense for what they're going to be doing in the lower attendance. But that was actually kind of cool. Well, not cool because it's going to suck for me, but kind of weird to see. But I just want them to open.
Okay, Peps, do you have the I know you said you didn't have like the keep notes in front of you, so
Mhm.
you don't have the notes that we wrote down, right?
The other notes that we had were the other dates with Disney and their reopening. That it's July 11th for Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, and July 15th for Hollywood Studios. And our topic today, Epcot.
I'm still really
I was
curious
trying to go
what
in
they're
order.
gonna do with Epcot because you got to rehire all those international people that can't get over to the country. So, like, is it going to be like a phased part of Epcot? I'm really curious to see how they're going to do that.
Should
It'll be
real
interesting. I mean, the other thing is, were they even sent back because of the traveling, or
That's
were they?
exactly, and they already fired a couple of their like entertainment acts. Like they didn't bring them back. They completely cut them.
Yeah.
Before this all happened.
Peps, you have you want to talk about Spaceship Earth real fast?
Oh, other big news is the other day was that Spaceship Earth had its intended last day of opening. There's going to be, before this all hit, about almost a month and a half of everyone getting to ride it for the last time. And if it's true that this was the last day, that this will not reopen with the parks in July, that it's done.
Did you guys not read the headline I read earlier?
Well, I read this
That
a
it's
couple
supposed
days.
to reopen and the refurbishment got pushed back to an unconfirmed date?
Okay.
I would think that would be smart, unless they
They've
had
already
already
confirmed
started
it.
working
Well,
on it.
this is the reason as to why we officially brought Trey on as our third mic, our third chair, because
He's
Trey
the one that knows more.
exactly. For those
I
that
read that
don't
earlier.
know, Trey has some weird secret connection to some things within the theme park world that Peps and I, the normal fans, Peps, you're kind of a hardcore fan.
Yeah, you're a
But
little more
we don't have
GP.
the oh, okay, well, I'm gonna kick your ass next time you see you.
What? I didn't call you a greenhorn. I just said you're more general public.
Listen, I'm an annual pass holder. Okay, I've
What?
paid my dues.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not currently. I'm saying in a general sense. I've paid my dues. So yeah, we have Trey obviously as the third chair, and he's the guy that has more information. So Peps, I think you pretty much covered all the big news. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Trey, do you have anything?
Two little
to add?
tidbits of news I have, which is really interesting. Through all this stuff, Busch Gardens has still not announced an opening date for Iron Gwazi, which I find really weird. They've kind of kept everything hush hush. Their PR department isn't exactly the best over there. The other tidbit of news is the Jurassic coaster has gone completely vertical, and half the inversion is up, and a lot of the second part of the ride is completely up. Midway Mayhem did a great update today. Shout out to Dan. He's amazing. That's all the news I got.
Well, I think you both missed some really big news. I'm gonna be honest. Some huge.
Fire it, Kyle. Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
The Raptor encounter finally got a good sign. That's some really
Hey, I saw that.
It looks like a real encounter.
It looks like a real encounter attraction, something like that. Before it just had like the digital sign kind of thing. It had like maybe a more of like a look maybe makeshift-esque. But now it's got like a really cool Jurassic World feel to it. It's got the steel sign up now.
Well, yeah, I don't want this to become a Jurassic World, but they're definitely giving it a vibe of Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Which, obviously that's blue in there. You're not gonna make it Jurassic
Hey,
Park.
you already know what pulls in the most this, and if it pulls in this, it's gonna happen.
This is true.
It was mixed reviews for the Jurassic World River Adventure, so I just hope that they just kind of leave
That's
it.
because the finale scene wasn't even done. They opened the ride without the finale scene even being done yet, which again, why? But I don't know.
Theme parks
my main thing
make
is
weird choices.
I love the big gates opening, welcome to Jurassic Park, but that first pool thing has been kind of disappointing for a while, and that's really what the main change is. I think after that, the little Chris Pratt and the Predator Cove needs to be updated.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they said that the what the heck do you call that? What the heck was that big dinosaur from Jurassic World? I can't. I'm like, it's killing me.
The Indominus Rex.
The Indominus Rex is supposed to fight the T-Rex at the end of the scene. But like, if you look up in all the POV videos so far, it's only got the head poking out. Like they didn't finish the end of the body that was supposed to be like in the scene where they fight as soon as you go down the drop.
I don't know. I like where it just comes at you when you go down.
I like that too.
That's all I need. I don't need a fight.
But I mean, the way I look at it is obviously Jurassic Park is still big. Like the original Jurassic Park, still big, very nostalgic, but at the same time, Jurassic World is what's current. It's what's in theaters. It's what kids are seeing. Which again, kids are really the that's the
Mhm.
big kids and families are the big draw to the theme parks. So
Now, do you think the Jurassic World might spin off of like a Netflix series with all this
I think
popular,
so.
like the Mandalorian was successful,
Yeah.
Stranger Things? Like, do you think it makes sense almost to be like if I don't know how the third movie's gonna be, but if they like now this is Jurassic World, like they're part of life, like trying to live amongst dinosaurs, if that's
I'm
just
sure they would try to find something.
I think you and
then
I perhaps have discussed like in our own like just us talking on the podcast that got a hair flying in my face there. Sorry. That even when they're finished, obviously Jurassic World Dominion is like the last one. That's
Mhm.
coming out. It's the next one, the last one. But it's not gonna be the last one. You and I both agreed. Like there's gonna be maybe a gap, but there's still gonna be movies that maybe don't tie into the like kind of Star Wars. Like there's gonna be movies that aren't tied into the main story.
I hope so.
There's gonna be TV shows that are probably have something to do with the stuff. Like you said, and I agreed. How you want to see a show where the park actually runs smoothly for once.
Hmm.
Um,
Seriously.
Well, I
or
don't think
or
Trey
run
was here.
smoothly leading up to a movie or the finale of the show where shit hits the fan.
I want a TV show that like goes in there like in between, pretty much a prequel to Jurassic World, and they're gonna go build Jurassic World, and they have some struggles. So there's like little struggles and stuff, and financial and issues that they add in, and then eventually the end of it, almost like a Gotham, is the Jurassic World opening,
Yeah,
and then
that'd
whatever
be really
that's
cool.
2-3 seasons, whatever.
I don't know
Especially,
about you guys, but I wasn't a big fan of Fallen Kingdom. I
No,
thought it
yeah,
was
I liked it.
okay. I thought it was all right, but I
Yeah,
thought really was a lot of it was really exaggerated.
I agree. The
Like,
first one was a
it
lot better.
started quick, but they ended the storyline of the first movie so quickly, and then
Yeah,
bounced into some segments that I was just like, okay,
it turned into a horror movie. Like
yeah,
the rest can be
exactly.
called a horror movie, but like everything about it was
They
like,
lost me. They lost me when that Indoraptor opened that door,
and just kind of
and
like
that girl's
reached
yeah.
in
I'm
and
like, come on, man. I'm like
that's
really.
you think that, or the dinosaur would just literally just attack and just maul her and
I was
eat
like,
her like the
really.
dinosaur would?
as an animal would do. Like
Yeah,
like you
even though
just
they
said.
try to say they're selling you on the animals is so intelligent,
Yeah.
that
Well, I think that that about
that's all my
wraps up
news.
our news. Yeah.
Yeah, new
I
segment.
didn't. We were kind of going nerd talk a little bit there. We were leaning
That
towards
was
nerd
funny.
talk a little bit, Peps.
Shit
So
happens.
moving
There we go. Not for
forward.
kids.
Yeah, moving forward to our main discussion. Finally getting into it. Epcot, the main discussion. So, what I think we tried. We tried to record this a couple days ago, and it didn't necessarily work out.
Failed in spectacular fashion.
We had a very bad situation thanks to Zoom and its 40-minute time call. So going back to kind of how I started the main discussion the other day. I want to start with the future of Epcot. Normally that's something you would end with, but I want to switch it up. I want to start, where do we see the future of Epcot going? Obviously they have a giant pretty much overhaul of the whole park that they're planning on doing. And so starting with Trey, we'll start with Trey. Where do you think the future of Epcot's headed?
That's a good question because right now, they had this whole big old idea of how they were going to redo the front of the park, and now with all the financial hardships, they literally stopped when the park's a mess. So this
Yeah.
could go either one of two ways. They're either going to finish it and it's going to look amazing, or Chapek's going to get a handle on it and it's going to be scaled down completely. So I think it's a to be determined thing. My thoughts on the future of this whole thing are Epcot is just a weird park to me because you have World Showcase which sells itself, and then there's Future World where it's like, all right, well, you see you see the Imagineers just freaking messing with these rides. Like Test Track 1 was great, then GM got in on it, then they ruined it, and then they made it into something completely different. Mission Space is okay. It's nothing. I'm not a big fan. The Guardians coaster I think will be great, but it's kind of weird seeing an IP attraction stuck into Future World, which you don't really know. And then
Yeah.
obviously there's Spaceship Earth, so I don't really know. I think it's just like one of those experimental lands that this is where they tinker with things and try to see what works and what doesn't. So
Mhm.
I think the future for Epcot, the park really needed this because it was extremely outdated. If anyone had went into those Innovations buildings, it was outdated. It was old. The decor was
It
old.
wasn't even being used anymore.
And they weren't even being used because they were so old and there was nothing in there. So
Mhm.
I think the future for the park is bright if they do it the right way.
Did you guys ever go on that Build Your Own Coaster by Raytheon?
I didn't even know that was a thing. That tells you there right
So,
there.
do you remember what Disney Quest had the Bill Nye coaster thing where it was
Yep.
like a tumbler thing
I
and
was
like
just about to
you,
bring that up. I
you
was gonna
like
say, is it similar to the
so
Disney
it was
Quest?
similar, but you know how like we've talked about the is it the Fuji arm, the thing that's like an arm
Mhm.
that kind of moves. So you build a coaster and like you go in the thing and it does a whole big Raytheon this, Raytheon the next spiel. Then you go to like a design lab similar to the Bill Nye one. You build it and it's much better and you can make it basic or hard.
Yeah.
And my sister's boyfriend does not like rides. So when I built it, I maxed it out because he was like, "Oh, how bad is it?" And he's watching like, "I swear it's not that bad." I made it extreme. And it was one that like literally like flips you upside down when you're like we have to pull up video at some point and show you guys. It is I literally actually almost made myself sick. So and the greatest thing is you have a camera thing in there. So you get to see their reactions and you can hear them screaming. So it was great. But it's like just two people in the thing. And that was probably the last time it was anything meaningful because they had that like um House of the Future in there. They had a bunch of other stuff that was
I don't
like
even remember
like
any of that stuff, man, because I was so young that all this stuff had taken out just like that.
oh yeah, well it was supposed to be like their version of having like an expo, which was like what Disney was kind of almost based on doing like the world, the world fair and stuff. So I remember them having like an area where it pretty much taught you how to do like fire drills and stuff, and then the House of the Future, which then later became the place where you were getting your glassware for like the festivals and stuff for like food and wine. But yeah, they just start pulling things out, putting up boards, and you're like, oh, there used to be so much in here, and
And for the longest time, that park was just like, wow, there's two big ass buildings here that they don't use.
in the middle of the
What are
thing,
we
it's like
doing?
at least put a ride. And they put a meet and
Something.
greet that ate up space, but you're like you're used to have like shit in here, and like the one I think to the right that had like the hallway. It was actually supposed to be a center hallway, and they were supposed to expand the buildings. They were built to be expanded.
Mm-hmm.
It was like temporary walls, and they just never did. They never had like the success they wanted to.
Mm.
So kind of sad.
So I think when it comes for me at least, when it comes to the future of Epcot, I'm kind of with Trey. There's a lot of shit in Epcot that doesn't make sense necessarily and doesn't really fit the mold of what at least what we think Epcot should be. Like to me it was always weird, and I think anybody would probably agree. To me it was always weird to go into Epcot and you're in Future World, and then the next thing you know you're in like China, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in like Germany and stuff. So I
Well,
just
that's
from the
what
bat, even looking at
broken
the
up.
layout, yeah, even looking at the layout though, like it's like okay, well you're in the Future World and then you're just around the world, you know. So it's like okay, kind of looks weird, but I'm obviously excited. I know you guys are excited for the Guardians coaster. I'm literally wearing a Guardians t-shirt right now. Um, but that to me, we kind of discussed last time was in our failed podcast. That to me, that would fit more in Hollywood Studios than it would in Epcot.
I wish it would have been there.
Yeah, I
Especially
mean,
that building could have blended in more with like the sound studios that are still kind of like there in a way.
see, I think Hollywood Studios should just be IP World and just have them
Mhm.
put all the IPs there because it fits, and then you keep original ideas to parks like Epcot where they should be.
Mm.
Like you look at Soarin' and all those, like that's
Test track.
great Test Track, all the stuff
Even
they put in
Mission
there were
Space.
original ideas,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden they want to capitalize off the IP and put everything in there. I mean, even the Remy ride in the France Pavilion, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, another IP.
Yeah,
That one I
which I
can live with
think.
because it didn't replace anything.
It's gonna be cool though. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
anyone that's been on trackless ride systems, it's amazing. It doesn't matter what ride it is. If it's trackless and you don't know where you're going, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a
I
cool.
think I agree with Trey on the whole Hollywood Studios should be an IP world, and I think depending on the situation, if it's like a Marvel, Star Wars type situation, I think it should go there. If it's like a Disney princess or maybe more original Disney like Pirates stuff like that, it fits in Magic Kingdom. It makes more sense in Magic Kingdom. Although Hollywood Studios had that really bad Jack Sparrow show, and the Animal Kingdom obviously makes sense to have like Lion King and Pandora stuff like that. But I think when it comes to really the big budget stuff, the Star Wars and the Marvel, which is really their big things, that it makes sense to put it in Hollywood Studios where it's based off of movies. Everything is movies.
Exactly.
So putting stuff from the movies there makes more sense.
The cinematic world basically is I mean, that's exactly
Yeah. So like what do you guys I'm trying to think of what we may have discussed in our failed attempt, because we obviously discussed the future. Maybe what do you guys think of current Epcot? What are your thoughts on Epcot now?
Well, I think it's very much like how we looked at Hollywood Studios as a half-day park back when they were still keeping the Drew Carey show alive, because realistically, outside of Star Tours, Rock and Roll, and Tower of Terror, you had nothing. You had 2 lands being built, and then, like, could you imagine if someone bought a one-day park pass and used it at Hollywood Studios?
Here's an interesting debate that steers away from Epcot for a second. Is Hollywood Studios still a half-day park?
To me, yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Mm,
Because to me,
Three
it's
quarters
getting
of a
there.
day,
It's
maybe
getting there.
2/3.
because like obviously they have a big step up from where it was like 2 years ago, where you would go and the only rides there were Star Tours, Rock and Roller Coaster, and like Tower
It
of
was a
Terror,
construction
Toy
mess.
Story Mania. Now you have Toy Story Land and you have Star Wars Land, but both those lands are not filled with a bunch of stuff.
I think if they didn't cut budget on Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge and made it what they were supposed to be, it would have turned it into a full day park.
Yeah. If Star Wars would have had 3 attractions, and I've told you, Trey, probably like too many times that they should have had every Toy Story ride they've ever built in any other park in that one. It's Disney World. Like, they should have had the parachute one, and they should have had that what's the other one I really like? Oh, the RC half pipe. That ride should have been there. Like, those are 2 easy flat rides that you would have looked at and been like, it's kind of a carnival looking thing, but it's Andy's backyard. It's a bunch of toy games. Instead, you have a pre-existing ride that you just flip the entrance around, a kid coaster, and a really kid version of like a circus ride.
And it's like this big. Like, the land's really not that big, even though they're
Even
adding
Galaxy's Edge
restaurant.
isn't necessarily that big when you're really there.
It's not.
I feel like Peps and I have said multiple times, we feel like sometimes we'll walk in and we'll walk past the Millennium Falcon and then we walk for a minute and we're like, oh,
we're at Muppets.
Or we're walking into Toy Story Land.
That park really isn't that big if you think about it. Like, you have Sunset over here, you got the main drag here, you got Toy Story Land here, Galaxy's Edge over here, and then
it's got that
area.
awkward plus sign shape too that I think that the higher ups don't like and they want to fix.
Anyway, I'll go back to the current discussion. Current Epcot is, well, first, it's a park that if I don't hit, I don't hit. I'd rather spend my time at Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. Like, if I go to Epcot, I'm gonna ride Test Track. I'm gonna ride Soarin'. Might get some food or something from whatever festival is going on and leave. Like, I don't have any, unless you sit there and drink around the world or all that stuff. Epcot's a mess right now. It's a mess. It's like they're literally an active construction zone while trying to keep the park open to day guests. So I don't know. There's not much of an appeal for me there. Like, I love the Mexico Pavilion. I've eaten at the St. Angel Inn or San Angel Inn, whatever it is. That was great. You're there for the food, you're there for the drinking, and you're there to ride a couple rides. But to me, there's hardcore Disney people that love Epcot, and then there's the people that go just to drink and stuff like that. But it's not like one of those parks where it's a must-do, in my opinion.
No, not until they get all the rides. When they have Guardians and they have Ratatouille, you're going to start having the crowd spurt out. And then it's like, oh, there's 5 or 6 rides here I want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think when we get the Guardians coaster, I'll be more inclined to go to the park. But right now, I don't even really necessarily care too much about Soarin'. I like Soarin', but it's not that much of a good.
It's the same ride.
Right, yeah. Especially too when you have Flight of Passage at this point, it's literally like the same ride, except Flight of Passage is better.
I mean, it's to change its ride every time, like our Star Tours, and then I'm going on it 3 times today.
Yeah. So for me, like, Test Track is number 1, and even Test Track is a very simple ride. It's literally just a dark ride that goes outside for 30 seconds. And
they ruined that ride with the new story. There's no story in it. Like,
none.
There's no, like, the original Test Track, you had the amazing queue line that had all the crash test dummy parts and everything else, like a car being built.
And an actual spiel room.
You went into the pre-show, and they told you all about what's going to happen. They're telling you the story. Then you get on the ride vehicle, and then they take you through everything else. They have the heating room, the cooling room, everything else that led up to the finale of the ride. This ride has no commentary. It's a ripoff of Tron. You can tell it was built cheap. Building a car does nothing for me. I don't care because it doesn't have any effect on the ride whatsoever. And
should have been an add-on to what was there.
Every single time I ride through it, I go, damn, they really could have done more with this. That's the only thing I can think of. I can't really enjoy it.
So all they did was give you lighting.
So do you guys think, and this could be like a very controversial thing that comes out of my mouth here. Not necessarily for us three, but for anybody watching. Do you guys think that when they did the overhaul for Test Track and made it the way it is, do you think maybe they did that as like well, we're never going to build that Tron thing that they have. So let's build this and make more Tron, so that way at least there's something kind of similar.
I'm not sure because maybe I don't know the timeline of everything. I know that both times when they went from World of Motion to General Motors, Test Track, and then Chevy, I heard that the companies had financial issues at the time, but wanted to renew the contract regardless. And I think they did short term and then signed, but they said they wanted an updated attraction, and so Chevy wanted the attraction to be updated. So they did the updates, and aesthetically, it looks pleasing. Like looking at the back of Trey's thing right now, it looks great. I just miss the nostalgia of like the caution, the traffic, the dummies. You look back at that, and you're like, wow, like that just tells you what it is. Like it looks like Tron. It looks like a cheaper version of Tron at a concert out somewhere. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't look bad.
this
I
is a
mean, it
weird
still
this
looks
is a
great,
weird
but
topic for me because I've always wanted. I feel like they had about this much budget of this ride to work with. Like there was another Chapek casualty where they kind of shrunk the budget down. Because like you look inside and you can tell everything's cardboard. Like they put neon lights on cardboard and called it a day. And then there's like, oh well, let's see how your vehicle does this. There's no talking you through every segment. You kind of lose interest. The old heating and cooling room, what they did with that, where you just look at
it's
thermal
nothing.
imaging, is the stupidest. It's
It
so
just has like
heartbreaking to
a
see what they
wind
did with
thing
this
going,
ride.
like
Like I
So,
almost wish they
I
would
mean,
correct it.
I feel like anytime I've ridden it, it's like let's see how your car would do in these different environments and situations. But I've never felt any difference in the ride. You know what I'm saying? It's
There's
not
no
like
difference.
and you
it's not
never
like
went
your
on the old
car
version,
slows
right?
down at something, huh?
You never went on the old one.
No, and I
Like,
was gonna bring that up when we were like kind of moving forward, but yeah.
So like the biggest thing is like when you would come down from that first climb, you would go over Belgium and another type of brick, and your car would be like testing its suspension. And then you would do the ABS brake, which is they don't even tell you. They just say presented by OnStar, and then you just go for some reason
Connected
and you
to
swerve and brake.
OnStar.
And then it does it again, but it brakes normal. It doesn't tell you why you're doing this. Before it said we're going to do brake checks because it was the 90s when the thing was made without ABS and then with ABS. And then you go through those rooms like Trey was saying, nothing really happens except it kind of does like, see how it does with your aerodynamics where there used to be lamps that you would be sweating like I am now. And you'd be like, oh my God, it's hot. And then they'll blow AC on you. And the next one you'd be like, oh shit, it's cold. And then you would have robots spray you because of corrosion.
Well,
So,
the whole thing, the one thing that pissed me off was the finale of the ride. I always loved the whole thing. You walked in there or went in there, and all of a sudden you hear is clear the track for barrier test, and like all the lights were flashing, like you knew you were about to go through a wall. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
the whole thing is like now you just see it goes, okay, it's
Mhm.
time for the final test, and I'm just like, that sucks. And
Like,
the other
that's
thing
cheesy.
is, I love walking through the queue line and watching that stuff. Now you walk through the damn queue line these days, and this is all you hear. This is the most annoying
Right?
song.
You remember the old theme where it was like,
Pep seemed to enjoy it.
boom,
This will get
boom,
so
and then
stuck in your head.
boom, beats up a dummy. Dummy gets knocked in the chest.
Like I listened to that whole theme song and I can't get it out of my head for 3 days.
Yeah, it's definitely an
The ride.
Epcot song. It's not bad. It just
Yeah, it's got a
I remember the
futuristic
old
vibe.
one.
I feel like Test Track is a great ride without an identity now. That's really what it is. It's a
If
great
we
ride lacking identity.
If they gave us this ride without a pre-existing ride, I'd be like, not bad. But
Well, I
judging
mean,
on what it was,
That that kind of makes sense because again, I've never ridden it, and I like this ride. You know what I'm saying? I have no issues with the ride. That's because I never experienced the first one.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so like you just said, it makes sense that you would say if this was a ride that had no history at all and they just put it in, then I'd like it,
yeah.
or at least I'd like it more than I do already.
Well, Kyle, like I know we're at almost the point right now, but essentially it would be like taking Star Tours now and then going to the one how it is in the past, where it just had that one movie and it wasn't very various. Like it's different in a different way of speaking, but it just seemed like they took everything good about it and pretty much gave you this cheaper version, but polished it to you.
Yep.
Like even Star Tours back in the day, which Trey might remember this, when you were going up the ramp where they would check your fast passes and up, they used to have things that would almost look like baggage going over your head on a conveyor belt. The same thing they had at the end of Fast and Furious, not Fast and Furious, test track, when you would come out, you would have almost like engine parts going over your head, like you're on an assembly line. And that's all been scrapped for obviously the one Corvette that never gets moved and checking your,
I'll tell you a fun fact right now. Kyle, you've been up towards the front of the ride, right, where they're about to load you?
Yeah.
Those walls behind it used to be the exit to the pre-show rooms before they boarded it up. So they completely reconfigured the queue because you used to come outdoors where those back walls are from the pre-show room and load it onto the queue. But they like rerouted the entire queue to go around the old pre-show room because that's where the design a car room is now. So it's like completely different on the inside.
Okay. All right, Trey, that was a really good, cool little fact. I didn't know that, and hopefully there's a good amount of people that did not know that are now educated by the theme park scientist himself, Trey O'Shields.
That's right. Gotta get him his lab coat.
My mad scientist self.
Dr. Seeker.
So moving
My
forward,
background magically changed. That didn't happen.
speaking of the scientist himself, when we tried to film this the other day, and again failed miserably. I feel like every time I have to say that we failed miserably.
Yes, we did.
Because we failed miserably. You brought up something that we didn't necessarily have in the format that, to be honest, I didn't even really think about. And I don't know how it slipped my mind. It probably slipped Pepsi's mind. You asked us what our favorite festival was. So I think I'm gonna flip the question, and I'll ask you and Peps, and then I'll answer obviously last. What out of the between the Food and Wine Festival and the
There's a couple others.
the other ones, the other ones that nobody really cares about.
Flower and Garden,
Garden,
Festival of the Arts, and then
Yes.
Festival of the Holidays, I think is all those.
Out of all of those, which is your favorites?
Food and Wine for me. I mean, Food and Wine is the best because that's where they focus just on everything food and everything else. So they really get creative with their dishes and stuff. And those teriyaki chicken buns in Japan are my absolute favorite thing
Phenomenal.
So
ever.
I think,
I absolutely love them.
Wait, I don't want the like a huge top thing in this, like a top 5. But what are your favorite 3 items? No order. But we already know the teriyaki buns.
I think let me say I think I can speak for, because you obviously just answered, but I think I can also speak for myself, and I'm more than sure I can speak for Peps in saying that's also our favorite festival out of all of them.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we can
I think
have
it just
that.
takes
we
the
can
cake.
Evolve the question instead of what's our favorite, because it's a pretty simple answer, and all 3 of us have the same answer. We can evolve that question to Peps's question of
Which is like, what's your favorite 3?
favorite 3 food items for Food and Wine.
Oh man. Obviously number 1 is the teriyaki chicken bun in Japan. That is just phenomenal. The second one is that Hawaiian pulled pork slider.
Yep.
Over in
Usually.
oh man.
Oh God. With that like annoli on it, I believe it is, or the spicy.
So
Did you
so
say hold
good.
on? Did you say annoli?
Yeah.
It's aioli.
Listen, chef man. Let the man speak.
I love correcting Peps.
Why are you interrupting?
Oh my goodness.
Speech.
And I'm not
no.
Peps now. I'm Richie Nye, the wrestling guy.
Okay.
Regina.
Good old
This is all
annoli.
Epcot names.
Oh
I love
man.
me
Sweet.
some annoli.
What's your third one?
I'm gonna have to think about that one. I'm gonna toss the
All right,
question.
we'll
over
come
you,
back to it,
Peps.
Kyle.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
I'll have to think about that one.
Trey, I don't necessarily think you have to think about it, because I think I'm gonna name my number. No. I'm gonna name my number 1, and I think you're gonna go, oh, so my number 1 is the piggy wings.
Piggy wings are good. Yes, the piggy wings. Yep.
I think they're also probably Pepsi's number 1. We indulge in that memory. Oh no, well we indulged in that memory together. That was we both discovered the piggy wings when we went to Food and Wine in like 2018, I think. And we both were just like, well, I don't know what's going on here, but we might.
See,
have
I got both, but I'll wait for a second and let you hit your 3.
Okay, yeah. So my number 1 is the piggy wings. My number 2 from the same place is the that corn. What was it? Corned beef nacho thing or whatever it was.
Corned beef chips.
Those
are so good.
Corned beef with the chips and had like the beer cheese kind of sauce or whatever. I think. Yeah, that's my number 2. And my number 3, my number 3 is weird because in a sense I don't know if it was part of Food and Wine or if it's there in general. Maybe you guys can correct me. In Mexico though, there was that, Peps, you were with me. There was that walk up like bar area that had some tacos, and those were some of the greatest tacos I've ever had in my life.
No, those are good. I usually skip them just because they're overpriced tacos, but they're good.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was like just Food and Wine or it's always there.
That's usually there, but it's still there.
It's usually there.
Yeah. Well, no. Even if it's still there, then if I was to put another thing in there, I would probably say that mac and cheese that we had.
Ooh,
Mac and
yeah.
cheese is really good.
Some
That's a good
years
one,
they're
too.
great. Some years they're okay. So it depends on the year.
Well, I've only really gone a couple other years, but the most recent and most notable year was 2018. when
Okay.
we went with
So you're
Pepsi.
gonna have to, because I know you like mac and cheese, like I think the rest of us. You're gonna have to come with me and Trey to some of the Busch Gardens festivals. This is just a side note. They never disappoint with mac and cheese over there. Last
Okay.
year for I don't think it was the Christmas one, but they had a build your
What
own
mouth
mac
watering?
and cheese one. You could go up and it said pick your cheese. So there's like 3 different you could do like white cheese or whatever, then pick your
White
protein
cheese.
and then pick your side. So I was like,
I'm
oh my
gonna
God.
plug 2 things from that place right now. That the food and wine there that I had that was absolutely phenomenal. The Southern chicken biscuit with that jam. Oh my goodness!
Yes.
And then the second one, they have a Coca-Cola booth there, and they did
Those
cherry
wings?
Coke teriyaki wings, and
Yes.
some of the best
Kyle's
I've ever
like,
had.
Yeah, it sounds.
yeah.
Oh my god!
Sounds like I'm gonna have some real bad acid reflux after that.
I'll
but
try to
I'm
save a gas
okay
pass
with
for
it.
you, Kyle, so you can join us.
Please don't.
So piggy wings are not my first.
Okay.
I know it's like top 3, but that would actually probably be number like 5
Okay.
if I was to.
That's surprising because
No, they're good, but I went up
we
there and
both
I
had
got
like
this.
a
I got both
orgasmic
of them.
moment. when we
No,
ate
they
those.
were good. They were really good. I never had piggy wings before that.
Yeah, neither
But
did I.
that smoked corned beef knocked the cheddar cheese soup from Canada out of the number 1. And every time I always get the cheese soup because it's addicting. But every single time I walk past that smoked corned beef, my mouth drools. I'm like, but I could just eat a little bit. I'll split it with somebody. Like I was like, I just need it. Like I'm like, it's so good. And I'll be like, no, I'm gonna go get a real meal later. I'm not gonna have the corned beef.
Guys, I smell a trip to the 2020 Food and Wine Festival. Maybe sometime, and we'll have to vlog it for the podcast. We just have to
Yeah.
sit down and just go around the world and just eat stuff for the podcast.
Yes, sir.
You might
It's a
have to do that.
genius
No,
idea.
Don't forget the Seven Seas Festival for at SeaWorld. I still have some extra punches.
I really hope
they're
that
gonna
Busch,
honor
I
them.
don't think they'll bring it with them when they reopen, but I really hope they extend the Food and Wine, but I don't think they will.
Again, a
Um,
side note is I got the lanyard for Busch Gardens, and they said they'll honor it for all the future festivals for this year.
Okay, good.
So I had like 12 punches on mine.
Okay.
Which,
Anywho,
Okay.
getting back to Epcot.
smoked corned beef, loaded potato soup, and then probably the Hawaiian one.
Okay.
Hawaiian, yeah. I think
It's like
yeah.
Hawaiian and teriyaki are back and forth between 3 and 4. It's Hawaiian just is the go-to more.
I do like the filet mignon at Canada too.
Oh,
At
that's
least
so good.
it's either good or it's bad, but when you have a good cut, it's amazing.
But it's the thing is it's expensive for like
It
a
is
little bit.
expensive.
So that's where it's good, but it can't be like in my top food. Like it just
Right.
that's why I wish they would. I'm not gonna talk about other parks. I just wish they would go to a lanyard system where I'm just gonna pay $50 for 10 punches, and if it's $8 or $3, it comes out as an average, and that's how I justify what I do at other parks because I'm like each
Right.
dish or drink I get is like $3.25, so I'm like that's fair.
Right.
Versus, oh, that's $8. I'm like, nope, nope. I don't feel like I'll go get a real meal. I'll still be hungry after I eat that.
Yeah. So I think we can move from the festival talk now. We obviously enjoy the Food and Wine Festival. It's apparently no secret here within the Theme Park Talk podcast.
I think it was unanimous.
So moving forward, I have 2 more topics I want to hit before we move on to our game show. So I'll be remiss if we talked about Epcot and we did not talk about Soarin'. So let's do a little dive into Soarin'. What are your guys' thoughts on it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What maybe could be changed? What could it even replace it? What's going on with Soarin'?
Well, do you guys remember when Soaring was announced on the Disney Channel?
No, I do not.
I remember the
I-
trailer. If you remember Tom Morrow, do you remember that character from Disney?
Yeah.
It was like a little animatronic. I remember them showing like the mechanism, and they were like teasing it. They're like, "It's a new ride coming to Disneyland," and I'm like, "Really?" Because I was living in Massachusetts still, so I was like, "So when I go, it's not going to be there." And I think I got the chance to ride it there before I came here. And if anyone's been over there, it's cool because it's more themed to like being in like a hangar, and you have like all plain stuff around you. Where like I think Trey would probably, if he saw the two of them, be like, this one's much better and has character. Where the one we have is kind of Tron
Scaled
knockoff.
down version.
Lights, it's walls and lights. You know, ours is better now because we have the 3 theaters, where theirs only still has like 2, I believe.
Right.
So,
Their entrance queue over there is 10 times nicer, and you feel like you're in the woods of like San Francisco. It feels like a hangar, and then ours kind of just feels like Tron and lights.
I
But
like
I
Soren.
think the ride
Yeah.
has been
I
solid.
like Soren.
Kind of miss the
One of
old,
those. It's
old
one of
ride.
those things where I love Patrick Warburton steals the
Mhm.
show. I love every time I ride that
Joe.
ride. I just kind of wait for and that includes hats, glasses, and of course these
These
little
guys.
boys.
Good old Kronk.
But
Kronk himself.
I love that, and then I love his whole narration is great.
One of the best ones, I
The
think.
only thing that I wish would improve on Soren is I wish you'd have a little more movement when you're in the air. Like
Yeah,
when you
it's
ride it
really-
enough, you kind of zone out the movement on the ride, and I just wish there was a little bit more, maybe up and down, side to side. I love the sense. They probably need to get an updated video at some point, and that's probably coming in the future. They'll probably end up updating the screens and stuff like that, but it's fun. It's not an attraction I wait more than 30, 40 minutes for, but it's fun.
You guys both went on both variations, right?
No, I've only been on the
God,
normal version.
Trey,
I've been on
you went-
both.
Okay. I like this version because you get to see so much. I feel like they're more on like the near misses coming across your screen, like
Mhm.
like almost like an edit. But I felt like the other one did a better job of making you feel like you were almost getting hit. Like they had the golf ball
Right.
thing, which is kind of like the bird. But remember, like there were so many times like it felt like your feet were going to be in the water. Like there was a couple times with the waves, I always brought my knees up. I'm like, why am I bringing my knees up? I'm not going to get wet. But or I think the mountaintops or the guy that kind of just gliding in front of you, you just felt like he's right
I
there.
do. If they ever not redid, but I really think they should do. What they should do is they should have multiple films, and they have
They
like
have to.
3 or 4, and you get a random one at any point.
Mhm.
Then they add it like what happens on Flight of Passage. Like if you go over the water, you get a little mist sprayed on you or something like that. Just
Mhm.
something that integrates you more into the ride. I
Yeah.
like it, but I think it could be better.
Yeah.
So
Definitely solid now.
So, Peps, you had mentioned seeing the Soren commercial on Disney Channel. And this doesn't really even have to do with Soren, to be honest. I just heard commercial and it made me think. So, each episode of every podcast, not even just theme park podcast, I like to include a clip as like the cold open. I like to include a clip, whether it's a nerd talk trailer for Star Wars or theme park commercial, something like that. So, as I was
try to
looking,
find it.
no. As I was looking for the cold open to this week's show. Now that we have a theme, I like to include the commercial or whatever it is included in what the theme is. So I was trying to find some Epcot commercials, and I found a Soren commercial. And I want to see if you guys remember it, because it wasn't even really that much of a Soren commercial at the time. They had other attractions coming. So Soren wasn't the only attraction. So it was like started off. It was the Magic Kingdom. It was
Do you have it
Cinderella's.
up right now that you can do a screen share and play it?
No, because I tried to
Oh.
do screen share and it didn't work.
Okay. Never mind. I was gonna say just play it. So we
It
can
was
see.
Cinderella's castle, but it was really dark out. Mickey was on the grass, like stargazing, and they like did this whole thing about Soren was coming to, California Adventure, and I think like something else was coming to Hollywood Studios. I don't know if you guys remember it or not.
Sounds familiar, but I probably was too young to remember it. So
So I went there to Disneyland when I was 13 to watch my sister figure skate. It was already there, so it had to been that commercial had to be from about like 01 or 02.
Okay, so that necessarily wasn't even the big thing. I want to inform you guys on what the cold open actually is because I haven't told you guys. It is a Bill Nye the Science Guy Interventions commercial from 1994.
I love that. That's awesome.
I love
You
Bill
guys-
Nye.
I figured you guys would love that.
I'm
That's
a mark
awesome.
for him.
But my point of view on Soren, I enjoy Soren. It's not as good now that we have Flight of Passage because again, that's just almost the
On
better version.
steroids.
It's the big brother, little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Improved in every way.
yeah. But Soren as a classic Disney ride is a classic Disney ride. I love it. Anytime you go to Epcot, I think all three of us have the same opinion of you got to hit it if you
Gotta
can.
hit it.
If you can.
Because
if you
it
can.
still has a pretty long wait time. So I don't really want to wait too long
It's
for it.
easy to get on the fast pass though. I've
Yeah.
usually
never-
had
I'll never forget the last time I went was Christmas time, and I was in the park when both Test Track and Frozen Ever After were both down. The line for Soarin', 230 minutes.
Yep. Nope.
Why?
I was
They
like,
had to go
"Fam,
up the
Flight of
escalators or
Passage
something.
moved over to freaking Epcot. I mean, I've never seen Soarin'
That's
that
crazy.
long.
Where do you put them?
Yeah, I don't
I've
know.
seen a line back to where the Fast Pass people are, the cast members, and I was like, for real, that's the line? Like, do they know how long that's going to take for them to get on this thing? Like, that is a long walk.
So, moving on from Soren to the last little segment, because obviously I think there's other attractions within there, but they're not necessarily, at least to me, I don't think they're necessarily noteworthy to where we need to have always like 10 minutes talking just about Spaceship Earth, because in reality, cool ride, but it's kind of a boring ride at the same time, you know.
Right.
I need
Um,
an update.
Same with
So
Frozen.
I had this thought of there are other attractions and Test Track, Soarin', Frozen Ever After. Those are like the e-ticket kind of attractions there. And soon to be the Guardians coaster. But for you guys, what is the one ride there that you enjoy that necessarily someone else may not enjoy? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a bunch of smaller rides there that aren't that impactful. So what to you like? Okay, I'll start with me. For me, I really enjoy the Seas with Nemo and Friends. I think that's a great ride. To me, Peps, you and I kind of talked about our weird love for the freaking Ariel, the Mermaid ride at Magic Kingdom because
Mm-hmm.
of how easy it is to get on, get out of the heat. It's just a nice ride. To me, I put
Tells
that
a
in the
good
same
story.
category. You can hop on it. It's kind of similar. It's on like the Omni Mover. You're just going. You see the dark ride, and it just gets you out of the heat. So to me, I think the Seas with Nemo and Friends is my like ride that I like that necessarily someone else may not really think about.
No, it's 10 times better than when it was just living with or the
The
living
Living
sea.
Seas.
And you really just kind of went on an Omni Mover. You never had a minute wait. I mean, you don't anymore, but sometimes on high traffic times, you might see a 20-minute wait.
I like, to be honest with you, it gets you out of the heat. It's a fun little thing. I don't mind riding Journey into Imagination. I know
No.
a lot of people don't like
Solid.
it. It's not. I'll ride it. It's cool. It's a cute little thing.
I mean,
Gets you out of the heat.
Peps is a big
It's fun.
Figment mark, so he probably
I'm a
would enjoy
huge Figment mark. I'm probably the only one here that remembers, slightly remembers, because they pulled in, I believe, 98, but they pulled the original ride out. And it's foggy memories of that ride. But I remember that one.
They redid
and
it
then,
and screwed it up and then redid it again.
And I remember that middle one because that one I thought, even as a kid,
Wasn't
thought,
it Journey into Your Imagination? Wasn't that what it was?
yes, and it was awful. But as a kid, I just was like, it was all new stuff. So you just were like, this is cool. And it was like, I remember the stupidest things because it always just fucked with your mind. Like that whole thing with the butterfly and it's like gone. Then it turned you and then there was like a cinder block and it would drop, but it would like drop through a table that didn't have glass but looked like it had glass. And then the lights would go off and you'd hear glass shatter. So the whole ride was just to fuck with you.
So Peps, why don't you sing the song for us a little bit?
No, I'm not
I'll
singing
take
the
my
damn
headphones
song.
off.
No, I can't sing.
No.
Get out of here.
I think it's cool. I mean, Living with the Land is all right. I don't know. I haven't ridden it in a while, and I don't ever try to ride it. It's just not. I don't like just going around on a tiny little boat, hearing boring narration puts me to sleep.
Mhm.
What's your ride of choice?
Well, in the past, it was oddly always the Ellen ride, because no one ever wanted to. It was always like a walk on, and you could get 35 minutes in a ride. But if I'm picking something new, I guess maybe the Mexico boat ride because
Three
kind of one of those things.
Caballeros.
Yeah, so I never really loved the old version. I really thought it was pretty bad, even when I was a kid, which is kind of odd when you think everything's great as a kid. But once they added those characters into the ride, I was like, we talked about the an IP, and I was like, I feel nothing wrong with this because it is pure. It's a Disney characters and it's stuff that's older. It's based in this culture versus creating a fake country and adding it to Norway. Because I used to love Maelstrom, but the Three Caballeros I thought was a perfect way to really minorly tweak the ride. It's not like the Frozen one. So
And I just love going in there just to smell that pavilion. That bromine water
Smells
smell in
good.
there gets me every single time.
I love it.
Every single time.
Yeah, and it's one of it's like living with the land too, but it's more entertaining. You sit there and you just have like the songs that they sing, and and then you're like, shit, the ride's already over. I have to do something now. I have to stand up.
Like I tell you, like I said, the San Angel Inn right there, that restaurant I ate last time there, some of the best Mexican food I've ever had. The chips and queso, some of the best. We had a margarita there, was amazing. The food there is phenomenal. It's a little pricey, but the food is
And
phenomenal.
how cool is it being there where the boats are launching in and
Oh
kind of
yeah,
going past you? Because
it's such a great atmosphere in there.
I like how the Blue Bayou Lagoon over in Disneyland with the Pirates has
I was
that
just gonna
same
say that's
aspect
probably
of that.
the closest you're gonna get to that.
100%. But
Here in Orlando.
yeah, no, it's the closest thing for sure, and I think they probably want to replicate that in some way. And it's cool that it's different because I hate clones. That's the one thing I don't like is to go somewhere and it's 100% the same. It's like tweak it, tweak it,
Well, Peps,
maybe
Peps
make
had
a
a
little
nice
sneeze
little.
there.
He had a nice little discussion about that with the Galaxy's Edge situation.
oh god, that was dumb. But essentially, think of it. If you want to build a similar ride, make a left turn, a right turn. And then so it's like, okay, well, it's different. Like Space Mountain at any other park is not the same as the Space Mountain that you're used to. So it's almost like a destination. Like it's the same thing, but it's different.
So
Yeah, I
that,
never.
that,
Yeah, that's a story I could get into. We'll save it for the Hollywood Studios talk.
yes. So that that was gonna be like the end of the Epcot thing. But then I also realized we need to name our favorite lands within the World Showcase.
Ooh.
And then we can move on to the game show because again, there's still a bunch of stuff about Epcot we could talk about. And anybody that could be watching this could be cursing us out that we're not talking about Spaceship Earth or Mission Space or something. But
Well, think of all the defunct stuff there. I mean, I have Robot Butler right next
Horizons.
to Horizons.
so I think that could be a good Epcot version 2 theme. You know what I'm saying? We can say that for another episode.
Well,
so
we could have a whole defunct episode and just
this
cover.
is also true. So yeah, to close out the Epcot portion really of the episode, what is your guys' favorite lands within the World Showcase?
I have a tie for first place.
Cheating.
It's a tie. It's a tie between Japan and Mexico. But I think in the end Mexico prevails because no other land can you walk in there and you smell that smell and the atmosphere in there. It's awesome. The little dark lights with the three caballeros behind it. Japan's awesome. I love the whole thing they got going on in there, but I think Mexico for me.
Peps?
So yeah, as it stands, I'm not going to give a bunch of factors because different rides, if they were in there, makes a thing. Mexico 100% because when you go into a thing that looks like a temple and you walk into a freaking city and there's a ride and an awesome restaurant and you're just like, it was 95 and humid in the summer out there and now I'm in the nighttime in Mexico. I think you can't compete with that.
Okay. So I guess I'm the only one that's different. For me,
That's fine.
it would be Japan. I love Japan. I've never been to Japan. But my whole life,
Did you
I
take
actually,
that ferry boat that took 14 weeks to Japan and work that show with Sex Ferguson?
yeah, totally.
Okay.
No, so
Okada?
I also realized recently my whole life has been actually a lot of things in my life has been kind of based out of Japan. I love Pokemon. That's from Japan. I love Dragon Ball Z from Japan. Power Rangers originated in
IWGP.
yeah, New Japan. I love New Japan. That's some of my favorite wrestling out there right now in Japan. So for me, when I went to before I went to Disney, I looked up some Japanese stuff and I found this thing called mochi, which I introduced Peps to.
That was good.
Which is basically a rice cake that has a filling inside of it. Trey, you may know about it.
I've heard of them. Yeah, I've heard of them.
So I was like, that looks really cool. It looks like a good snack. But I'm not getting to Japan to try it. So when I went back like 2015, I went to Epcot, went to the World Showcase, went to Japan, and we were in the store, and I found mochi, and I absolutely lost my mind, and tried it, and then I went
You
with
really
Peps, and I was like, Peps, you got to try this, and Peps was like, you know, Peps gets, it can't be that good. How can it be that good?
Well, but this, okay, first of all, he was putting it over like it was the greatest thing in the world. And I'm one of those people, be pessimistic, be like, yeah, it's good. I like it. And then I go, well, let me try it. And then I go, it's good.
And
But
that's
he's
exactly
like,
what happened.
the whole day, I can't wait to go to Japan. I got to have my mochi. It's the best thing.
Yeah,
But I'm like, it can't fucking be that good.
And it was that good. It was incredible. We were literally that little bridge when you leave the store, that little like bridge over the little like river. We were standing right there. I remember, and I was like, "Here you go, Peps."
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's good in Japan: the frozen sake snow cones that get you wasted. That's what's good.
I haven't had those, but I also the store
Blood
in general
orange.
I like. because the store has
They
Pokemon
do
stuff
get you
and
turned up.
Dragon Ball Z stuff in there, and also you can get some sushi there, which I've gotten, and I love sushi. So
Sushi, $20 a roll.
yeah, which this has nothing to do with theme parks, but we're gonna talk about something real fast.
Oh,
Peps does not like sushi at all, but he
No,
sent me
lay
a
it on him.
Snapchat the other day of him eating fried chicken sushi.
That's
And
different.
now he's a sushi like connoisseur. Now he loves him some
Only fried
sushi,
chicken.
only if it's chicken.
I literally told. So we at my hotel we have a sushi chef that just took over. He gives me this whole menu. He's like, if you want to try any of it, I look down. It's like octopus and crab and
Yum.
tuna this and that. I'm like, there's literally nothing I will eat on this. I was like, where's like there was one that's like steak and lobster and like the land and sea one. And I'm like, can you do it with steak and steak? Because I will do that one. And then out of nowhere, they came out with the TNT one, and it's got fried chicken, and it's really good. And you said it was called a Tampa one or whatever.
Yeah, it could be called a Tampa roll. I think actually the Tampa roll is the fried fish one I told you about. But most places it's called like a KFC. It's called like a KFC roll.
So the way he did it when
By
we
the
did
way,
a double,
that's like the most disrespectful thing you could say to a sushi chef is, could you make it steak and steak? He's like, dude, my main job is to cook with fish and
No,
sea creatures, and
I
you just
work
ask
with
me
the
for
dude.
meat.
I
Oh,
work with
boy.
the dude. I said literally, I don't eat things that are raw, and I don't eat fish. I can eat fish, I just choose not to.
Mhm.
I don't even dislike the taste of fish. I just choose not to. So I was like, if you did steak and steak, I could, or a veggie option, which there's, I guess, a vegetarian one. And he's like, yeah, whatever you want, whatever, But like when my coworkers got an order, they put the chicken one in and they put the other one on the other side. And I swear to God, like they know I don't eat fish. So I'm like, I'm not eating crap. I was like, so don't fuck with
Oh
me.
boy.
Don't tell me
Well,
which one.
with that, before we steer too far away from theme parks, I think
Listen, we've already discussed with that. This isn't a kids episode. We already lost that thing.
no, it's not that it's not a kids episode. It's that it's not. I don't click it's for kids on YouTube.
Anyway,
So, moving forward, that about closes up the Epcot theme, the Epcot talk for this episode. Again, we have still a bunch of stuff about Epcot that we are going to save for a later episode when I don't have to talk about Epcot because I kind of find it dragging. It's my least favorite park. But this is not the end of the episode. We have a game show. This is the first one, right, Peps?
Yes.
Okay, so on our Nerd Talk podcast, I came up with the idea to do a game show with a guest every once in a while when we can. And Peps and I came up with the idea of, fuck it, let's do the theme park version. So we pre-recorded it. We did it when we failed. When we failed miserably, we actually didn't totally fail miserably because we actually achieved the game show and we got that right. And a shocking turn of events happens within the theme park.
So watch it.
Game show. Trey, it's not as good as
The
you think.
scientist gave away.
Sorry.
The scientist gave away his secrets.
The member of the general
it's sad too
population
because they
is
were
the
really
scientist.
like hello questions, and my brain was just
Listen,
deciding to not.
but also,
work that day.
Peps underestimated me. I will say that as well.
All right, go ahead.
All right, Peps. Well,
all right, and Mike.
you're the guy.
All righties. Yeah, I'm the guy. So today we have our first ever game show of theme parks. Now, with our contestants today, their knowledge is mostly Disney and Universal combined. So that's where we're going to stay. I don't think it'd be fair to hit Kyle with some Six Flags trivia. So,
I'm good.
yeah.
Some Hershey Park. When was Hershey Park founded? I don't fucking know.
Why you already know the first question for you?
Yeah.
No, I'm not hitting you with Hershey.
You put it on the Google Keep on accident.
Yeah, no, not hitting you with Hershey Park. That would not be fair. Your first question is actually on what make and manufacturer is every ride in the park?
Yeah, that's definitely not my first question. I don't know what you think that is, but that's definitely
No,
not
it's
mine.
not. Trey, I told him that if it's you versus him, I'm not hitting him with who makes Everest. As
I
a
know it, though.
manufacturer.
It's
I know you do.
It's Gergenheiger, whatever it is.
No, it starts with a V.
No, but he almost got Glurslager because I've said that so many times to
That's
him.
a tough name though.
No, because we've talked about the Skyfly that's coming to
Every other fucking word that
Epic
comes out of his
Universe.
mouth is Gerschlager.
Yeah.
No,
But
okay.
he doesn't know what a Eurofighter is. But anyways, so this is the game, not an education lesson. And because Trey is probably the expert of us
I
three.
forgot we were recording for some reason.
Yeah. So he's the expert of us three, I think, right
Edit
now.
that out.
So I'm going to start with him. No edits. This is unfiltered. So the first question's for you. Name 4 countries in the World Showcase at Epcot.
All right. Mexico,
Yep.
Morocco,
Mm-hmm.
Germany.
Yep.
Canada.
There you go. 1 point for Trey.
Yeah, I could have got that.
He's
one,
on the
by way.
board.
Y'all like how I'm drinking my
Claw. And it
filtered
disappears.
white claw here that disappears?
I'm drinking some Pure Life.
There you go. All right, so he's on the board. I'm going to give him that point now. I got the point system going here. So, all right. Now, Kyle, for you, another level 1 question.
Okay.
Name a Halloween event between the 2 parks.
Oh, okay. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
There you go. On the
There you
board.
go.
Damn. I thought it was
hoping
going to
you
be a lot
got that
harder
one.
than that. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that. And I know Peps was waiting for me to say Horror Nights, so I wanted to.
Well, on all
Excuse
fairness,
me. Damn.
Yes. Oh my
Woo.
goodness, that really came through
His
my mic
headphone
there.
user.
Woo.
I apologize for that
keep
one.
keep that Roner off my internet connection. So I wrote for all fairness, Trey, he gave me some really hard questions when we did the Nerd Talk one, and I wrote these mostly before we actually did the thing. So he already had the questions.
No, he thinks it's
already
hard,
written. I'm not
but I just thought he had a higher skill level than he actually did. That's really all it is.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
Okay, Trey,
because he's
hold on. No.
he's a liar.
No. We're not gonna move on. We're gonna talk about this for a second. Trey, have you seen Star Wars?
I'm more of a fan of the older ones. Like I've
Okay,
seen the newer
that's
ones, but
perfectly
I don't
fine.
follow.
That's perfectly
Ask
fine.
him
Let
the
me
same
ask you this
question.
question. Okay, Trey. In Empire or no? Oh, I think I just ruined
You
it.
see, you already fucked it up. So his question was, in which movie does Vader say, "I am your father"? And I said, Episode 5 in a heartbeat. And he goes, I need more than that. I was like, I don't know, fucking Revenge of the Sith or something. I was like, I don't know, Episode 5. And he's like, yes, but no, I need the name. It's not that. I was like, I don't know. I'm right though. I didn't say Episode 6.
I still loved Revenge of the Sith. I loved that movie. That was the
Yes,
6th one was one of my favorites.
That's my favorite one. But okay,
Yeah, I love Revenge of the
going
Sith.
back to the game show.
Anyway,
Anywho.
so we're tied up 1 apiece after
1-1.
the
Yep.
entry level questions. Now, this one still kind of easy. Which attraction is symbolic with Ric Flair?
Symbolic with Ric Flair.
Yes.
Oh man.
This instantly came to my head. This is really a giveaway, but it's not my question.
That's what I thought. It was a moderate, but it's one of those ones I like to say. It trips you up if you just have a.
What park?
I can give you that. It's a Magic Kingdom. That's
is
the
literally
only hint I
just
can give you.
burning in my head right now.
I didn't even think of this. Like, wow. It's burning in my head right now. Then we should flip the question to Kyle and give me a different one.
What can happen
Can I
is
steal?
if someone gets one wrong, because I'm doing this
okay.
off overall points, if he gets a guess though. There's no multiple choice. He gets a guess. If he gets it wrong, it's up for stealing. This is how this is a point system. So
how many hints can I get here? Like how many guesses? Like
if you get 1 hint, and I gave you the Magic Kingdom, I can't give you any more because realistically, there's 20-something rides there.
Exactly what's going through my head right now.
And realistically, I'm not going to give you any hints, but think it's Ric Flair, and it's symbolic with him. So
Huh.
I'm not gonna like start trying to like go through the rides, but like if you think of what makes sense, like just pick a.
I'm gonna say, wow, this one's tough. This one's tough. Splash Mountain.
And that is not correct.
Yeah.
And
So
I know Kyle knows
right,
because
Kyle.
he's been bought.
All right, it is
chance to
Space Mountain.
steal.
It is Space Mountain.
And he is correct.
Oldest ride,
Space
longest
Mountain
line.
Is the one he cut. He cut many promos in, I believe, WCW on that studio set saying, oldest ride, longest ride.
The longest
I
line.
should have known. You know what? You know what? Now that you say that, I feel like an idiot because I remember watching a TNA promo
Mhm.
years ago. I think it was like 2011.
It's in the Jay Lethal one where he mimics.
Not only that, he looks at the girl in front of him and he goes, "Hey, you baby, hey, come back to my hotel later. I'll
Yep.
give you a ride on Space Mountain."
Those are the promos.
And now that it hits
That's
me,
why I thought that hit
kids,
me,
kids
and
don't
I
drink.
was like,
Don't
some
drink
reason-
and play trivia games.
for some reason, I was like, that's good for you because I think you may know it, but I think it may just be one of those ones where you're
I
just
didn't
like,
know that off the top of my head until it hit me after
yeah.
Kyle
And it
said
combines our knowledge of wrestling and theme parks.
That was a
So,
good one.
Just don't forget, if Kyle gets something wrong, you have the chance to steal.
Which I probably will. We're like 2 questions in. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm only gonna get
No, each one of you is getting 5. So this is Kyle's second question. Now, Kyle, your question is, who's the castle at Magic Kingdom? Who's the princess that's for?
Oh, Cinderella. That was a throwaway. That was
Okay.
a giveaway.
Not really. I mean, I thought with the two of you guys would get the Ric Flair one, but I thought that might be a little
okay,
tough
yeah.
one. And honestly, I always forget it's Cinderella because each castle is different.
Well, you're old, so
Yeah. So, Trey, this one's probably an easy one. Between 1982 to 1993, what was Epcot's original name?
Experimental Prototype City of Tomorrow.
That is right, but I mean, technically, what else was it called?
Wasn't it called Epcot Center?
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, giving you points for just actually nailing what the actual name of
yeah,
it is.
I wouldn't have
Epcot
got
Center.
that. I wouldn't have got that one. So
Yeah, that's where I was like, I think he'll get that.
well, I may have
But,
gotten Epcot Center,
Kyle,
but I don't know
if
that.
you ever ride the People Mover, they give it away when they go through that first scene.
Yeah, that's depressing
Literally
because
say it in the
I
narration.
ride People Mover every time I go to Magic Kingdom.
If
and
you
I-
listen to the narration when they go through that first scene with the city,
Yeah.
the narration says it.
So the answer I was looking for was Epcot Center, but the fact that if you could nail Epcot's acronym would easily be something that is worth giving, something.
Point back for the one I
Right?
just lost.
So now, Kyle, this is more of a universal question. Despite being based out of LA, what California city is the Fast and Furious attraction based out of at Universal Studios?
Oh well, all right. Well, it's San Francisco, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is correct.
Oh shit, that was kind of
I
a
knew
guess.
that one too.
That was
so
kind of a
I was
guess.
kind of surprised
I-
you got that.
I figured Trey would easily be able to steal that one because
I
he
knew
would
that.
probably have a
I'm
gripe
a
with
big
it.
Fast and Furious fan.
And if you know where that's located, it's where the disaster attraction was, which is based out of the
Which
San
is funny because
Francisco
that new
Falls.
ride's a disaster, but you didn't hear that from me.
That ride sucks.
Right? Now, I don't know. This one's where it can get a little tough. Trey, I thought I was gonna get Kyle with that one.
That's funny.
What year did Walt Disney World open the Magic Kingdom?
God.
This
I
one
read
was
this. I heard this on the Imagineering story, and I should know this.
And-
It was in the 70s.
yes. To be fair,
70s.
I was wrong when I mentally guessed it before I looked it up because I wanted to guess it
I
and
want to
then look
say
it up
it
and go,
was
"Wow, I was wrong."
1978 or 79.
Is that your final answer, or do you?
Wow. I
If he
heard
gets
this,
it,
and I
if he gets it
can't-
wrong, can I attempt to steal?
You can, but you can't be Googling over there.
No, I'm not. My hands are free.
Mhm.
You know the rules.
He's on
That
his
you can,
phone.
No, I'm literally not. I think I might know it. So
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with 1976.
Nope.
Nope.
Kyle.
all right, can I? This is a guess. Was it 1973?
Nope.
Okay.
It opened 1971, October.
Wow, I was way
Second.
off.
I was off. My guess was 1975 because that sounds
I
right.
thought it was later in the 70s, but wow, I did not
you
know
know
that.
what-
Sounded
do you
right
know
to me,
why?
but-
Do you know why I'm upset that I didn't know it? Is because aren't they celebrating the 60th anniversary next year?
Yeah,
So, which is
yeah,
2021.
71.
I'm like, how am I not remembering that?
Wow.
So, no points. At this point, Kyle has 4 and Trey has 2.
You shit. Oh shit.
I don't know how this wasn't up further. Yeah, because you got the steal one, so you're up there. This one I feel is actually soft because I feel like you would know. Name the ride The Simpsons replayed at Universal Studios.
Back to the Future.
Yeah. I should have had. I didn't really put these in
Oh,
super
man.
order like you did.
No, you did
that
not.
should have been higher up. Well, to like build it, but I feel like.
Ask me some bonus Busch Gardens stuff. I'll get back in this.
Of course. Well, this is between the two for you guys. So now 5-2. Now Trey, what is Walt Disney World's first water park?
River Country.
That is correct. And
now
so,
defunct River Country.
Yep, where they'll be building a hotel.
Where you can find a rattlesnake in a jar.
It they got filled in. And so, Kyle, you have the last question, and it looks like you're up to 5-3. So, I guess Trey can only hopefully steal it, and you're gonna win. But I need to know the parent company of Universal Studios. Who is it?
Is it Paramount?
I know it.
Trey?
Comcast.
Okay.
Correct.
There you go.
So, it looks like we have a winner with Kyle.
Wow.
So I was
I don't
hoping
know
for
how that just happened.
Well, you guys both stole each other's ones. It was really just that 1971 question.
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
Otherwise, you
guessed it off the top
you guys
of my head.
each got 3 of your own questions right. I think, whatever the math is, maybe 4 and 3. But you guys each stole a question from each other. So now, Kyle, I have 3 bonus questions, and you won, but I want to hear you answer all 3. And if Trey, if you want to steal these,
Why do I do? Okay, but why do I already won? Why do I have to answer the 3?
Because I got them written down. These are for bonus points.
But I already won. What are the bonus points for?
I will give all the bonus points to Trey, and he'll beat you in the overall standings.
Oh, it's overall standings. Okay.
Yeah,
you said that. Explain that in the beginning.
You have the chance to answer all 3 of these
ask
first.
the question then.
But if you do get them wrong, Trey gets a chance to get bonus points.
Well, we have 10 minutes left on this Zoom meeting, so
exactly. So first of all, first question in the bonus. Yeah. No, we'll get this in. What did Imagineers use to build the Tree of Life?
They used fucking water pipes or whatever the fuck it was. It was like old gasoline rig or some shit.
I will accept that.
I heard something about it.
It's an old oil rig that they repurposed.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
It was on one of the Imagineer story type deals.
Didn't know that. Wow.
So I thought you were actually gonna steal from him when he said water pipes. I was like,
I think what's happening here is you're really actually underestimating me.
No, I'm actually I'm impressed. Now I think I can beat you here.
Pepsi's proud.
I am a little proud. What year did Mr. Toad's Wild Ride close at the Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, I don't 2006. I'm just throwing it.
Now Trey, chance to get a bonus point here.
Oh man. Can I get a hint off of this one?
Not in the 2000s.
I didn't think it was in the.
No, I was just throwing a guess. I had no clue.
I would have remembered it. I'm gonna say. Can I get the 19th century or just the year on the exact dot?
Gotta be. It doesn't have to be the month. It just has to be the year.
94.
That was the year the 20,000 Leagues of
close.
Sea permanently closed. Closed the year and the month Kyle was born, actually, September 98.
I was thinking 97. The first guess I had.
Yeah, and still operates to this day in Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland.
Now being Winnie the Pooh.
I was gonna say, isn't that where the Winnie the Pooh ride replaced? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense.
So the last one, on the now defunct ride Disaster, who was your celebrity actor in the Spiel Rooms? Kyle?
Shit.
You obviously have the question first.
Shit. It's in my head.
This is
Tim
not.
Tracker.
This is not. This
He
is
like
not,
that's not my answer. Tim Tracker, like he always he always like showed, no, it wasn't Tim Tracker. I'm saying in his video, Bill Paxton. Let's go. It's Bill Paxton.
Is Bill Paxton your answer?
Yeah.
Okay, you're wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't actually know who Bill Paxton is,
I
love the enthusiasm.
I could have swore that was it, man.
The enthusiasm and the certainty was like someone answering the first question of Millionaire. Like, I know it.
What was the? Unless Trey's gonna steal
No,
it.
Trey has the
I can't
ability.
steal. Yeah, I can't steal that one. I don't know. I didn't ride disaster.
It was a less of a disaster than what's there now.
Yes, this is true.
You really don't want to take a guess at who was the.
I never rode.
They used the same technology in the Twilight Zone with the ghost, where they reflect on the light, so it looked like a hologram was standing in front of you. So no guess.
I wouldn't like off the top of my head. I don't know if I know this one. I never rode disaster.
So no guess.
Are we talking like '90s actor?
Did stuff in the 90s. I mean, really hasn't done much in the last probably 10, 15 years. It's still a big name.
Still a big name?
I mean, you guys hear the name. I mean, not something that you're like, oh yeah.
Harrison Ford. No, I don't know.
I wish.
I don't know it, man.
That'd be great.
Okay, so this isn't the person, but during the ceremonies, The Rock was featured in it because he was on the tram. As they would do the green screen work, and The Rock was actually in it, but he was not your spiel person. In your spiel room was Christopher Walken as a hologram.
Okay.
And Kyle does a
that.
mean Christopher Walken impression. So I literally thought he would be like, I don't know.
You see, you got to put the seatbelt on before the vehicle can move.
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
Christopher Walken had that great one where he was supposed to be a director telling them to go into the next room. And he was so good with the hologram thing where it's like you could tell he's a hologram, but it's like he seems there. It's pretty good technology.
That's funny.
Okay. Well,
but no, I'm happy to stump you guys on
Yeah,
that one.
I did not
Kyle
know
that
that
question
one.
and completely fucked him up.
Like I'm gonna be
Wow.
honest, like the first year I actually went, like I went to Universal as a kid, but I don't remember it. The first actual year I went was 2 years ago.
Oh wow. You need to get a pass because
That's on my bucket list one day, man. Once I'm done with college.
that's true. There's no reason to get a pass when you're going to school in August.
oh,
Afterwards.
Bill Paxton was the spiel person in Twister. My bad.
Well,
I was close.
that's I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
have
I have
and,
no, I have no
Jamie-
clue who Bill Paxton is. I just remember Tim Tracker's videos. He
I
always
know the name. I just don't know who.
Yeah, and a random ass person named Jamie is the spiel person in Fast and Furious. Not like that's
It's-
cringy at all.
It's unisex. That's why.
All right. Well, I am the first winner of the theme park.
Oh, so while we still have 4 minutes left, that means that
Hmm.
gives you the platform for 60 seconds to talk anything you want while we shut the hell up and you just have the floor.
Sweet. Okay. Time starts now.
Yep, you get to rant or talk about
All right,
whatever you
so
want.
I would like to promote the Guys of the Galaxy podcast. I don't know if anybody's heard of it or watched it, but it's pretty good. You can find the link on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's a pretty good podcast. We do theme park talk, wrestling talk, nerd talk, all that stuff. And then follow me on Instagram at the Kyle Kidman. That's about it.
Uh-oh.
Trey, good game, bro.
You know, it's not to plug yourself. It's really to put
Fix your
over.
internet. That's how I was.
Yeah, you have 36 seconds. It's not to plug yourself. It's to get something over. Talk about Star Wars. Whatever you
I
want.
like Star Wars. I don't know what you want me to say. I have nothing to promote here other than my podcast that I'm already doing and just won the game of. I would say, Trey, good game. I appreciate it. As a consolation prize.
Tonight, and Trey would like to be back.
Yeah, as a consolation prize, I will let you return to the podcast in future episodes.
Yes. All right, I'll take that. It's better than a trophy.
Yeah.
Victory.
Better than a participation trophy. Yes.
Well,
Awesome.
that is your 60 seconds. So that was a competitive game between the two of them.
No, it wasn't.
Obviously,
That sucked.
well, the matchup was 5-4, to be honest. So
I missed
No,
that
we-
Ric Flair one. I feel like an idiot now.
and then so far in the season points right now, 6-4. Kyle is up on you on 2.
You're
So
going to be doing some Busch Garden stuff. I'll get all the points for that.
no. So what we'll try to do is me and Kyle might get together and try to have you versus our friend Lee if we can get you guys in. That way it's not just you and Kyle. So because if it's other people, then there's not a chance for if Kyle's playing every week, then it's going to be almost impossible for anyone to catch up to him. So we'll try to balance it out. You know, if it's Kyle and Lee and then you versus Lee, we'll get a bunch of people in here and we'll make it fair.
All right,
But,
but
like-
we have less than a minute here, so
I'm
we're
say
gonna
less
have
than a
to-
minute. So
yes. So
I blame
won.
Kyle. It's all his
Happy
fault.
Trey, good game. Appreciate you, man. Peps, you're a great host.
course. Sometimes.
And,
trying my best.
that's that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching or listening, however you choose to indulge in the Guys of the Galaxy podcast. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. We want to again welcome the new man, the third mic, the third chair. Our boy Trey is now a permanent co-host of the theme park podcast here on the Guys of the Galaxy channel, I guess you could say. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you
It's good to be here.
or watch. We have a bunch of other episodes. If you like nerdy stuff, we have a whole podcast about nerd stuff. If you like wrestling, we got a whole podcast about wrestling. You like video games, we got a whole podcast about video games. You won't see Trey anywhere but here. Trey is exclusively here on the theme park channel. So if you're
And that's why it's the best one. Sorry.
if you're trying to see Trey's beautiful face on the wrestling podcast, you probably won't see it. Maybe in a cameo, maybe a guest starring role. But yeah, he is exclusively here. But yeah, please check out all this stuff. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. We can really appreciate that. If you're on Spotify listening, please
Subscribe to our OnlyFans too.
Oh gosh, yeah, Pep's is launching his OnlyFans this summer.
If you're Google me, it's OnlyFans/Mike Honcho 68.
All right, that's an inside joke between you two.
All
But I don't
right.
know.
All
But
right.
thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching and
I got
listening.
bills
We
to pay.
appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Hello? This is Jonah Jameson. Roger, over. Is this thing on? Listen, Scoop. Crime reports are coming in from all over the city, and I'm starting to get worried. Did you see that? The spider signal. With Spider-Man nearby, trouble can't be far away. And you know what trouble means. Headlines! National coverage! So don't screw this up! I mean, good luck.